The rain had been falling since dawn, the kind that soaked into the cracks of the road and into a man's bones, the kind that made the world feel heavier than it already was. Daniel Harper wiped grease from his hands onto an old rag and stared at the rusted car sitting crooked in front of his small garage, wondering how many more free repairs he could afford before kindness finally broke him. He had lost his wife 3 years earlier, buried his dreams with her, and every morning since had felt like lifting a mountain just to breathe. He never knew that this ordinary, broken-down car would carry a moment that would change his life forever. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet miracles that happen when people choose compassion over comfort, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Daniel was a single father raising his 6-year-old son, Noah, in a small town where everyone knew your past before they knew your name. His garage barely paid the bills, and most days he fixed cars for people who promised to come back with money they never had. He could have said no more times than he could count, but something in him refused to harden. Maybe it was because he knew what it felt like to be stranded, emotionally and financially, with no one stopping to help. He remembered the day after his wife's funeral when his own car wouldn't start and he stood there helpless, holding Noah's hand, feeling like the world had officially turned its back on them. That morning, a faded blue sedan had sputtered into his lot and died like it had given up on life. Behind the wheel was a woman named Emily Carter, her face pale, her eyes hollow with exhaustion. In the back seat sat an 8-year-old girl named Lily, thin arms wrapped around a worn backpack, eyes watching everything with the quiet awareness of a child who had seen too much too soon. Daniel could tell before Emily even stepped out of the car that she didn't have money. It was in the way she hesitated, in the way she held her purse like it might disappear if she loosened her grip. Daniel inspected the engine, rain dripping from his hair, grease smearing his hands. The problem wasn't small, but it wasn't impossible either. As he worked, he noticed Lily sitting on the curb nearby, her feet dangling, her gaze fixed on him like she was trying to understand what kind of man he was. Daniel felt the familiar tug of conflict in his chest. He needed the money. Noah needed new shoes. The electric bill was overdue. Still, when he looked at Emily's trembling hands and Lily's tired eyes, he made a decision that felt automatic, almost involuntary. He fixed the car anyway. No invoice. No expectations. Just a quiet act of kindness in a world that rarely paused long enough to notice pain. When he told Emily the car was ready and she didn't owe him anything, her knees nearly gave out. Gratitude flooded her face, mixed with something deeper, something like relief that she hadn't felt in years. She tried to insist, tried to offer what little she had, but Daniel shook his head and simply told her to drive safe. As Emily went to thank him one last time, Lily lingered. She stood close to Daniel, her small presence barely noticeable against the weight of the day, and she leaned in close, her voice so soft it felt like it belonged only to the moment. What she said didn't sound like a request. It sounded like a plea shaped by years of quiet fear. She explained, in her own fragile way, that Emily was her mother, that life had been hard since her father left, that she had never seen her mother smile the way she did just now. And then, with a bravery that broke something open inside Daniel, she asked if he could be her dad. The words hit him harder than any loss he had endured. Daniel felt his chest tighten, memories crashing into him all at once. He thought of Noah waiting at home, of the empty chair at their dinner table, of the nights he stayed awake wondering if he was enough for his son. He looked down at Lily and saw a child searching for safety, not perfection. Emily rushed back, apologizing, clearly mortified, but Daniel couldn't look away from Lily's eyes. Something sacred had just passed between them. Emily's story unfolded slowly over the following weeks. She was a nurse who had lost her job during layoffs, drowning in medical bills after Lily's illness years earlier. They had been living between relatives, couches and cheap motels, never staying long enough to feel secure. Daniel offered small help at first. A ride, a meal, a listening ear. Nothing dramatic, just steady presence. Emily found temporary work nearby. Lily started doing homework at Daniel's kitchen table with Noah, their laughter filling a space that had been silent for far too long. Daniel struggled internally. He felt guilty for even imagining a future that included happiness again. Loving someone new felt like a betrayal to the woman he had lost. But every time he saw Emily's strength, the way she loved Lily with everything she had left, and the way Lily clung to moments of normalcy like they were treasures, he realized that love wasn't something you replaced. It was something you expanded. The town noticed the change in him. His garage became warmer, brighter. Customers lingered longer. Kindness, it turned out, was contagious. Daniel began to understand that fixing cars had never been his real purpose. Fixing broken moments, broken hopes, broken hearts, that was where his hands truly belonged. Months passed, and life didn't suddenly become perfect. There were arguments, setbacks, nights filled with doubt. But there was also laughter echoing through the house, shared dinners, and a sense of belonging that stitched their lives together piece by piece. Noah gained a sister. Lily found stability. Emily found partnership. And Daniel found himself standing in the middle of a family he never planned but desperately needed. Just before the ending of this story, we want to ask you something from the heart. Please comment below and tell us what kindness means to you, or share a moment when someone's compassion changed your life. Your words may be the hope someone else is searching for. Near the end of that year, on a quiet evening with the sky painted in soft oranges and blues, Daniel watched Lily run toward him, fearless and joyful, calling him by a name he never expected to hear again. In that moment, he understood that the smallest acts of kindness can open doors we never knew existed. That free repair, that single decision to help without asking for anything in return, had rewritten the story of 4 lives. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe even a little more in humanity and second chances, please like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive and reminds us all that kindness still matters. Daniel never became rich. His garage never turned into something grand. But every night, as he locked up and walked home to a house filled with warmth, he knew he was the luckiest man he knew. Sometimes, the greatest reward for kindness is not gratitude or recognition, but a family you never expected, waiting for you at the end of a long, rainy day.